nothing for Kane.
I see no way for him to get through now. Not with... There's now fungal... Well, there was fungal. Not anymore. He's actually used that in infested energy. But yeah, Kane... If Kane tries to charge this again, he will now lose. There are 4 Hydralisks, superior defensive position, energy being charged up, more infestors on the way. He's going to have to back off and then most likely defend against an attack from his opponent, hope to get a good engagement there, and then hope to simply counter, because currently he is now behind. He does have an upgrade disadvantage, although that's not something Kane is going to be able to exploit unless he rolls out right now.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of sort of hidden factors going on right now. I mean, one is that if you look at the unit count, you see that they're about even in drones. They have about the same geyser count. But there's some key differences. There's a lot more Hydras on the field for Gosu User,
yep.
You know, including those they're going to be coming out in production. The armor upgrade is quite a ways ahead. Wait, where was the macro hatch? Did that get canceled? That's kind of a surprising decision.
Yeah, that's a little bit odd.
But also, the amount of gas that Kane has mined from his third is a lot less than his opponent's.
Oh man, Kane just sort of posturing there, thankfully out of the range of the fungal growth, so that could have been an absolute disaster. Kane just needs to leave. He can't fight this. He must leave right now. He's got to get by all the time he can get.
Oh, but it's a counterattack tactic. Kane, swing around the back. Kane knows that he's a little bit behind. Has got to pull through. Actually, he's more than a little bit behind, but this counterattack is definitely going to help out. He's target firing.
Third is going down. Very, very nicely done. But can he hold against this attack if he loses his third in the process? There's a fungal growth going down. Not too good. And the Infestor gets caught at the back here. Nice little engagement by Gosu User. And Kane is now going to have to defend against a massive army. Fungal growth's coming in right here. The Spine Crawler doing its best. It's a little trooper, but it's not going to be enough to stop this. And is this run by really going to be enough to actually make the difference? Continued reinforcements will come in from Kane. It may be enough to hold off here. His first wave will die, but the second wave is about to pop. If he gets a good rally, a good position here, especially with the drones, he may hold.
Well, at the same time, those roaches back home for Kane are doing so much damage. There are 10 roaches for Kane, ripping apart the workers back in Gosu User's base. I mean, those are the hero roaches of this game. More roach reinforcements. Oh my god, Totalbiscuit, is Kane going to pull this one off? I just think he has a little bit too many roaches.
He got the flank. He managed to move around with roaches that popped out of his third base and actually crushed the remainder of Gosu User's army. And he did so much economic damage in the process. Those roaches are somehow still alive, engaging against Hydras now that pop out. It's 41 drones to 23. Kane with a fantastic run by.
What a great game number one. Kane going for the all-in, realizing that he just has no more time left. Forces himself to pull back. Such a difficult decision. So easy to just give up or go for a final swing, but no, pulls back and opens up the window for that counter-attack Totalbiscuit that has completely devastated Gosu User's economy. Gosu User now at 23 workers.
Look at the income, man. Gosu User mining 280 a minute, 1,200 for Kane. Kane is able to continually reinforce superior concave on the engagement here for Kane. Superior numbers, and there's the GG.
Wow,
Kane.
Good game.
So smart.
What a sensational game number one, TB.
It's pretty much about as good as Zerg vs. Zerg with pretty much nothing but roaches gets, man. It was a nice piece of tactical play. That was a cool game of chess that we watched there. We saw some great engagement arcs from both sides, but Kane made that good decision. And it is very tough, as you mentioned, to actually make that decision, because you know, if I don't have every single last roach with my army, will I even be able to hold here? And he made the right call. He was able to reinforce in time. He was able to delay his opponent long enough. And in the meantime, as Gosu User just goes all or nothing right into him, loses his third base, and then gets his economy torn to pieces by a little attack force of 5 or 6 roaches.
Yeah, I mean, very, very unusual moment in that mid-game when we saw the Mutalisk pop out, and Kane read Gosu User going for the roach mid-game. In that circumstance, what do? Well, it's very common as the Mutalisking player. You just go for Infestor Roach. But again, Infestor first. The idea is that you emphasize geysers at your third base. Yep. You're trying to have a gas lead on your opponent, even though you built the Mutalisk, because you're going to delay their third so much, you're going to mess with them gas-wise so much. And then when the Roaches came out, that's very like, uh-oh. And you can tell that Gosu User was even a little bit, you know, like, oh my gosh, when that roach push came up, barely defended it. But Kane with the great tactics. Again, one of the reasons why I hope to see Akalon waste multiple times in this matchup.
That will be pretty cool. Star Station's going to be the next map. This is, of course, Gosu User's choice with the loser picks format here. Now, we did see Ghost User kind of on the back foot for a lot of that game, but Kane definitely overcommitted at one point and put himself in a very dangerous position. Also, Spore Crawlers are pretty good.
Yeah, oh my gosh. The Spore Crawler is... I mean, it's basically a railgun now.
Yeah. It
Literally.
essentially is. With 100% accuracy, which is a dangerous railgun indeed.
Wow.
Well.
I mean, next map is going to be Star Station. We talked a little bit about this when you and I were casting the earlier group stage, but Zerglings do rule this map.
Yep.
Long after the Mutalisks are out, it's still Zerglings rule. It's just so absurd how potent those things are. Especially with all the openness, with all the counterattack paths. I mean, I very much so anticipate Ling Muta from both players with big emphasis on the Lings.
I certainly think so. And I still think that Kane did really, really well with the early Baneling stage, and he did significant damage to his opponent. So we'll see. Kane may decide to emphasize that stage a little bit longer, but of course, there's only so much you can really do to dictate the tempo to your opponent in a mirror matchup.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, here we go, folks. Star Station to the northeast position in the red trunks, playing Zerg. It is
Root Kane
versus his opponent to the southwest position, currently down one game in this best of 7 series. It will, of course, take a while for him to be knocked out. He's got plenty of time and plenty of maps to play for, so he's by no means out of it yet. It is
Millennium Gosu User.
Now, one of the cool features that we have been exploiting about GameHeart is that observers can actually see ally chat, which means that you can send secret messages to the audience without actually talking to your opponent.
And that looks like what Kane's doing right now, just typing a little bit of, hitting the EZ button right there. Chobo user.
I think that... Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, please, Totalbiscuit, you organize SHOUTcraft America with Jenna. I permit you to speak first.
This is what I like to call the awkward Skype etiquette, where there's a slight delay between the voice going to you and the voice coming back to me, which means that the number of times where you both sort of talk at once and then both stop, and then there's this awkward pause, and then you both say, oh, please, sorry, go ahead, at the same time, and then everything goes horribly wrong, and we just leave in embarrassment. That's the kind of thing that happens on Skype. So friends don't let friends Skype cast.
Dude, I think that anyone can relate to this moment if they've ever been, in middle school trying to get to class, and they walk up to someone, and then they make eye contact, and they both try to go left, and then they both try to go right, and they both try to go left, and then all of a sudden someone just stops moving and huddles up into a ball in fetal position. That's the only way you can actually get from A to B. So that's exactly what it's like doing that casting.
Completely.
And woo, look at this. Ghostly user actually going for very, very, very quick gas in the main.
Delicious. We'll see what that turns into fairly shortly. Now, I have a little statistic for you if you would like to hear it.
I'm ready.
100% of the time, when players in this tournament have used ally chat to take the piss out of their opponent, they have lost the game. That is true.
Really?
Yep, really. It's mostly Suppy's fault for causing that statistic to happen, because he was one of the only players to use it. He was actually casting the game as he was playing as Hello Kitty. He called Dark Templar, was absolutely wrong, and then after saying that, typed, I may have misread the situation just before dying. It was an unfortunate but hilarious moment.
Oh my gosh, that's sensational. I honestly think that, oh my god, I actually am fiddling with the GameHeart drawing menu, and I think I've just drawn a hockey puck in Kane's base. Do you see that?
Oh, let me check. Oh, god damn it.
I don't know how to undo it. Oh, God, I'm so embarrassed.
press the X button and look at the hotkeys. You did actually draw a hockey puck in his base.
Alright, I did it. I removed it.
What was the hotkey to remove it?
Shift Q.
Shift Q? Okay, good to know. I might start drawing randomly if we get to a really terrible point in the game. We'll see. Kane is able to get a little run by there. A lot of Lings coming out already. A huge amount for Ghostly User. He's going up to like 24 here. The Baneling Nest is pretty late here for Kane as well. Ling speed is about to kick in. Ghostly User can hit a pretty nasty timing here.
This is virtually exactly what we saw him do in the group stage. I mean, Ghost User's going to be flooding with lings. Ooh, he left for it. It is natural. Not good. Kane now flooding lings of his own. It's currently 24-2 with 14 coming out. Kane can get that Baneling up. Baneling Nest up in time. Ooh, Baneling Nest actually in the main, not at the natural expansion. So those Banelings from Kane need to pop out very, very quickly. Drones even getting into the fray. Nice angling from Kane.
Yeah.
Spine Crawler's out, doing some considerable damage, and actually Ghost User gets smacked.
Lovely transfuse right there. The Spine Crawler absolutely being the linchpin of that. The double Queen placement was great. Drone loss, 1. Unbelievable defense by Kane. Absolutely phenomenal.
And now look at this double spine for Ghost User. I mean, he cut Banelings, so I mean, there's really no hope to defend this without getting those Spine Crawlers up. So now Ghost User, I would say, is once again in a surprisingly bad spot after a really, really potent early push. And I think Kane realizes, wait a minute, if this guy flooded me with lings that fast, there's no way he can have Banelings up. He's going to make the poke while transitioning to Mutas.
All right, now here come the Banelings, and Ghost User didn't really have a way to deal with that. We're going to have to see some pretty damn exceptional micro. He is able to evade all of them. The Banelings are now heading towards the Spines. Spines just pop out in the nick of time there for Ghost User.
Wow. Kane pulling back. There's 2 big choices you can make as Kane. You can chill here, or / head home to play defensively, or you can add a couple more Banelings and try to go in for the bust. I think just suiciding these units in is going to be very, very weak given the 2 spines there, but we see Roach Warren incoming from Ghost User. He has to go Roach Warren because he has to defend against both Mass Ling and Mass Baneling with more drones being built, so you've got to get the Roaches. You can't rely on Ling Baneling there. It takes too much larva.
Now, that was nicely held there by Ghost User, gotta say. The lair is, however, almost complete here for Kane. So, let's see what he decides to do. He's picked up all 4 gas, so the Spire is pretty much the logical play here going forward. But we're in a similar kind of situation where the Roach Warren is coming out, but no Evolution Chamber here for Ghost User this time around.
Yeah, I mean, Ghost User's really looking for some all-in opportunity. We see the Baneling Nest going down. Ghost User is just going to commit to trying to win this game right here, right now. Or I should say, at the 10-minute mark, then. There's the Overseer flooding in, checks hatch 1. That's the first target, and then checks hatch 2 and sees, boom, no layer. Instantly 2 Spine Crawlers. Wow! Look at that response from Kane. I mean, I was going to say you should go for Spine Crawlers instantly, but I mean, Kane was more than prepared. I mean, actually going up to about 6 sounds about right here. It's a 1-basing Zerg with, or excuse me, not 1-basing. It's a hatch tech Zerg. Yeah.
Well, we call him a patch Zerg, maybe you just typoed that. He is in fact a hatch Zerg, and in this situation, you're absolutely right. Flood as much static D as you possibly can, make sure that it works, make sure that you've got everything you need, because if you hold this, okay, 7 Spine Crawls might be overdoing it slightly, but look at the number of Banelings. Oh, lovely catch by Kane! Absolutely the right timing.
Brutal, just a brutal position. I definitely think that 8 is overdoing it. I actually think those back 2 should be canceled because you do want to have 6 to 8 Mutalists out ASAP. You don't want to be trying to trickle in with a couple here and there.
Yeah,
great
definitely.
spacing though from Kane. Going to be a virtually impossible task for Ghost User to break through this. Roaches lead the fray. Here come the Banelings for Ghost User.
Alright, he's going to have to get the most phenomenal detonations in history, and he didn't get them at all right there. GG, says Ghost User, and straight through, Kane takes the second game.
What a just clean game from Kane. Just, that is straight, simple, down and dirty punishment. Just, okay, you're doing this push. Here's my angling. I will scout at the exact timing I need to ensure that I have defense up, and then I'm going to get that defense up placed perfectly. Clean sweep.
Yeah. You cannot spot a mistake in Kane's play in that game. Thankfully, it was only 11 minutes long, so it's a small sample size, but he did a great job there. Didn't even see the Mutalists pop out in the field. If it was an overcommitment to spines, then it didn't really make a difference because Ghost User realized there's like, oh, I'm so dead at this point. There's no way. Admittedly, maybe he should have held on a little bit, built 10 spores, and then just laughed at Mutalisks, but regardless, he was way behind.
Yeah, I mean, I think Ghost User did all the right steps after his initial decision to push. I mean, you could question whether or not that play is good on that map, and I will quell your questions by saying it is quite good on that map.
Yep.
It was purely the control from Kane that brought him that win there in that early game spot. But then, you know, Ghost User had to do something. He was going to be way behind on gas, way behind on drones, way behind on tech. Better just go all in and hope your opponent is the one making the error.
Absolutely. We are now on Belshire Vestige, and it is 2-0. We're going to go through all these series. We are not going to run ads because I want a smooth ride today, because Lord knows you haven't had that in this tournament so far. So we are ready to rock and roll. Big thanks to those of you who have subscribed during this tournament, by the way. That really does help us out an awful lot. That money will, of course, go to kind of replenishing what we've spent on this tournament. Very much appreciated, and hopefully you guys are enjoying the rather relaxed chat that is currently arguing that, in fact, Day 9 doesn't know what a hockey puck is.
I meant to say hockey stick. Oh, they're all correct. Oh, no.
Now it's time to retire and become a pro Magic the Gathering player.
Oh, my God. Oh, man. I won a non-zero number of games and matches in that tournament.
Oh, I was speaking to Greg yesterday as we finished out the cast, and I announced, of course, that you would be casting it, and I said, well, this is the only time that I've ever wished for you to lose a tournament, but Greg, I imagine you've had quite a bit of experience with that.
Oh, man. You know, that's, I will say, that is the, that is one of the relieving parts about, you know, playing in the Pro Tour. I mean, certainly it's a bonus spot handed out. To, you know, Magic the Gathering enthusiasts in the community.
Yeah.
And as you know, John, I'm enthusiastic. So playing in there was no pressure to win. You know, there was no demand like, oh man, if he loses, God, he really is not the best Magic player. I had no delusions about that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you know, when I was packing, you know, on Thursday night for the Friday tournament, I just put in, you know, I put in 3 pairs of boxers just in case. You know, it got to Sunday, you know, I got an extra sweater in case I spilled something on Saturday and needed to have a nice one for the top 8 on Sunday. You know, it's not that I knew I was going to get there. It's not that I had confidence. You know, it was just a backup plan that went totally disastrously, and I'm thrilled to be here casting with you, John.
Oh, yes, it would. You know, you know what the problem with you playing Magic the Gathering is? It's very much tempting me to pick it up again, and if that actually happens, then, oh god.
Dude, I'll play with you, Commander, anytime.
Hey,
go ahead and introduce them players.
You'll have to show me how to play online, because apparently the UI and that bloody thing is terrible. Sporting to the northwest position in the red trunks, from Team Root, currently up 2 games in this best of 7 series. His name is
Root Kane.
Versus his opponent to the southeast position, who's going to need to bust out something a little bit better than that, because his opponent currently looks unstoppable. He is
Millennium Gosu User.
Alright, we're seeing a pretty early hatchery from both players, but there was the difference in the fact that Gosu User took his spawning pool, whereas Kane actually went for the hatchery first there.
Yeah, I mean, pretty expected given the histories of these players. Gosu User pretty much always goes straight for the pool right off the bat. Kane pretty much always goes straight for the hatch right off the bat. And also, I just wanted to give a sincerest apology to those of you who follow me on Twitter because, you know, John, you have the stream delay that I forgot about. So I tweeted the result of game number 2. My bad. I'm sorry.
You are. It's okay. You're a time traveler. We all accept that. That's just a gift and a curse that you're just going to have to live with, and we will have to endure with you.
Well, in positive news though, my brother just messaged me and he says hi to everyone, and he's just turned on the stream and he's playing Super Meat Boy and watching from Korea.
Oh man, I have to wonder how many of those brand new Thermaltake Esports designed mouse he manages to break during the course of that Meat Boy session. Though that said, if you're playing Meat Boy with the mouse, then you're in for a really bad time, I've gotta say, but I don't, you know, I never understood Super Meat Boy in the sense that I don't know why anyone would willingly play it. Like, you play it as part of a challenge that your friend sets you, not because you actually enjoy it.
Oh no, that is such a lie. Super Meat Boy is a triumph of game design. I think it is so, I feel so good, you know? It's like, I feel like I'm wielding a samurai sword every time I'm, like, wall jumping.
Yeah, I've got to say, it is some of the tightest platforming gaming I've actually ever seen, but it is also the most frustrating bloody thing. There is a video of me basically playing the Determinator, refusing to give in on the first boss, and finally screaming at the top of my lungs when I managed it, and I never played it again.
Oh, John with the rage quit.
Yep, pretty much. I'm known as a rage quitter from time to time. I just hide it pretty well. Alright, here we go. So, now that we have filled time and talked about meat, which is my favorite topic, we can talk about Kain, who is my second favorite topic. And he is now morphing Banelings directly under the Overlord. An audacious move. His opponent, of course, is going to have to get into defensive position. There are so many Lings on the field already. Let's see if Ghost User can pull a similar defense. He doesn't have a complete wall-off on that yet. That was not a good detonation for Ghost User there whatsoever. He's sending the second Lings through to actually try and take that Baneling out. There's a lot of Banelings here. He's got to be really careful with his engagement right now. Oh, it's going right towards it. The Spine Crawler is getting a really odd arc on it. There's detonation. Can he get a second detonation and do significant damage? This could be game right here. This is so damaging here.
Oh my god, Kane's early control is just stunning. And what a connection on that final Baneling, ripping down that new line of links from Ghost User. He doesn't have the queens there. He doesn't have the extra injects that can be coming. Zerglings straight up in the main base. And look at this prudent play from Kain. Getting his quadruple gas up, getting his layer up, continuing to keep Ghost User under pressure. And Ghost User, the one battle he's losing right now is in tech. Drone count is even, gas count going to Kain, layer timing going to Kain.
Yep, we had 10 workers killed, but Ghost User got pretty greedy in the first place in terms of his drone count, so that did actually set him up fairly well. You know, if I'm totally honest, I prefer the higher drone count and the really small army with the Banelings rather than the kind of medium-sized army that just gets trashed anyway, even though it was really trying its hardest. And in that respect, it does allow Ghost User to at least stay on a reasonably even keel. But as you said, that layer is going to be a big deal. Kain gets another run-by as well. Of course, the Queens can't wall off. They're trying desperately to inject here. That's going to be another run-by right into that mineral line, doing significant more damage. Ghost User with great surround as always, and good use of the Queen. Great positioning of the Queen as well. No good surround there for the Zerglings, but that's another 6 workers killed. And in this kind of situation, that is not going to be helpful to Ghost User whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, Ghost User is losing now.
Yes, he is.
Not just the drones in the main, but like pretty much in every regard. The Spire is behind, the gas count is behind, the drone count is behind. Kain is just so good in these early engagements. And you saw Ghost User put up a really pretty solid defense. It wasn't sensational, but it was a solid defense.
Yeah.
But the problem is that Kain is the one who is going to really to the sensational play. Getting those attacks to deal maximum damage every time. Getting this third down very swiftly every time. And look at that, getting that one
Baneling, yeah.
Yeah, one Baneling per link connection. So good.
Kane's just ridiculous at this matchup. It's terrifying. He's making all the right moves, and it's not just about his decision-making. I know plenty of players that can make good decisions and then completely screw up the actual execution of it. Kain manages to pull off both impeccably.
Yes, definitely. I mean, he's going to be having Nautilus out in no time. And look at this Overlord from Kain on the left. Spots the third going down late. This is the signal to go into straight defensive mode.
Well, let's see what he's able to do there. He's adding on +1 Carapace, which is great against Queens, absolutely useless against the new Spore Crawler.
Yes. Oh, I was really worried you were going to say absolutely useless against Mutalisk. I was going to be like, oh my god, John, no.
No, I am bad when it comes to StarCraft analysis. I'm not that terrible, don't worry. I know it is incredibly important in the Muta versus Muta battle.
I was about to tweet, John is about to lie. I mean, the stream delay would have just caught up perfectly.
It's just one of those times where the more analytical co-caster just can't resist throwing his play-by-play guy to the wolves.
Dude,
and I don't blame you one little bit.
I think that is the most important thing to not do. I mean, if you said that, though, I would be hard-pressed. I would just be like, oh, God almighty, John, we have technical difficulties.
It's like, why are you even involved in StarCraft? Why is that? You should switch to League of Legends, but... yeah. It is very important in this Muta versus Muta battle, of course. I'm interested to see if Spore Crawlers do play a part. There is a Carapace upgrade coming down here. There's going to be, of course, this time, especially if there are no Spores, where Ghost User's Mutalisks will be significantly weaker as a result of that Carapace upgrade.
Well, this is what is nice about the spore crawlers. A lot of people were discussing them in the forums and the community about the Muta versus Roach Infester matchup.
Yeah.
But in Muta versus Muta, it's very significant because in ordinary play, Kane would have just won, period.
Yeah.
However, Gosu User can throw down some spore crawlers and delay. He can spend time to get up things like infestors. He can spend time to get up additional corruptors. Corruptors, very, very dicey choice given how slow they are, but
Yeah.
Kane's doing a good job clearing everything out, and Ghost User still can purchase more time with those spore crawlers, which is so key.
Yeah. The nice thing I think that I would like to see, and obviously we haven't seen this change really kick in enough yet, is if it does get to the Infestor stage, the notion of picking a fight in such a way that a fungal could keep Mutas inside Spore Crawler range would be huge. I mean, the amount of Mutalus you could kill with Spore Crawlers moved into the front line. You know, we should point out the change that was made a long time ago to Spore Crawlers that actually reduced the burrow time, which means that actually using them in a fight is more feasible than it would have been otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, everything that you said about, like, the strength of the Spore Crawler in synergy with any number of things is going to be the linchpin for Ghost User to stay alive. He has not built more than one Spore Crawler, though, which is a little concerning. He's essentially claiming, I think my Ling Muta counterattacks are better. He has +1 carapace, as does his opponent. Mutalist count is 25 to 27. It's really, once again, about the Ling play, but Kane's so smart, taking a 4th base in the midst of this.
Able to pull that off quite nicely. Now, Gosu User does know about it. He scouted pretty much almost immediately. Gosu User, on the other hand, will, of course, try to defend his own 4th position if he decides to go to that. And this is going to end up being a really interesting engagement one way or the other. Here they come. The Ling's battling underneath it to take a few bounce pieces of damage here. And currently, we are looking at 19, 18, 15, 22, and Kane is clearly winning this battle.
Devastation. I mean, the +1 is almost done. Kane just had a few extra Mutalisks in that fight. But, you know, it's like the inverted pendulum. You know, a small loss begets a medium loss begets a bigger loss. And now it's going to be, once again, all down to the Spore Crawlers. And Gosu User, the sort of hidden loss there was that he had so much gas in the bank that he was not spending.
Yeah, that is very, very true indeed. Now, getting up to 18, he's going to be back up to about 22, but he's definitely behind here. That +1 will certainly come into effect. He saw the Lings battling under the Mutalisks to take a little bit of bounce damage here and there. That's the strange element of combined arms warfare when it comes to this mid-game ZVZ. We've got 3 Spore Crawlers coming down now. Now, this is what could really change things. We do have that Infestation pick coming down, 4 Spores now. If he is able to take a good engagement with Spore Crawlers nearby, and actually hold up, because he's now building another, like, 12 drones, which is crazy at this stage, because Kane's coming in to attack, then he will be in a good spot. 1 Spore is already up, and it is nuking its way through there.
Wow!
It killed the Mutalisk, but at the end of the day, will that be enough? Maybe, just maybe it will be, but that +1 is really going to make the difference here. 14 versus 24 here, 25 Mutas, 10 Mutas on the field right now. Gosu User with the smaller count, and there's the GG. Will Kane take a 4-0 sweep? He is showing dominance.
Gosh, this is an extremely difficult position to come back from as Gosu User for a number of reasons. First of all, winning 4 games in a row against anyone, really difficult.
Yeah.
Second of all, Gosu User has really been the one using the variety of strategies. Played conservative in Game 1, played very aggressive in Game 2, suffered an early game, fall behind, 2 aggression in Game 3. So Ghost User's really trying on a lot of different hats. Roach Hydra, Infestor, Mutaling, and none of the hats work. And that is very daunting. And of course, finally, Ghost User said that he would 4-0 sweep, and now that will be running through your head, because when I was a young, dumb player, I remember that I would try to talk smack at the start of series, and it just hurts when you start to lose, and it's very distracting.
Yeah, certainly. It's so hard to come back from a 3-0 deficit. It puts you in a horrible mental spot, and Kane can now do whatever the balls he wants. So he could 6-pull 3 games in a row and then still win the 7th. I mean, he's got so many options here, and Gosu User has got to play every game perfectly. He is not so happy right now. I don't really blame him, because this is a really horrible spot for him to be in, and I do feel for the guy. But this is competitive tournament play. This is what you get used to. This is what you sign yourself up for if you want to make money playing video games.
I mean, this is just absolutely spotless play from Kane. I'm just, I'm so pleased to see.
Yeah. Kane had so much hype riding behind him going into this tournament, and every single time he has proven that that was completely earned.
I'm sorry, broke up there for a moment, John. What did you say?
I said that he's gone into this tournament with amazing amounts of hype behind him, and everyone said, Kane,